on behalf of the Corporate Connect Club of IBS Mumbai. We aim to bridge the gap between academic theory and boardroom reality, and today's conversation is a testament to that mission. Today, we are joined by a titan of the Indian financial services industry, someone who has not only witnessed the evolution of the Indian markets over the last 25 years but has actively shaped it. Joining us today is CFA Anil Ghelani. Anil sir is currently the head of passive investments and product at DSP Mutual Fund, a firm with a staggering 160-year legacy. His journey at DSP began in 2003, and over 2 decades, he has held nearly every critical leadership position imaginable, from CEO and CIO of DSP Pension Fund to leading risk and quantitative analysis and buy-side credit research. Beyond his corporate office, he is global face for the CFA Institute. He has served as the director and vice chairman of the CFA Society India and was even featured in the global brand campaign for the CFA Institute. Recognized in the prestigious 40 Under 40 Alternative Investment Professionals 2018 list, he is also a member of the committee for AMFI and the India-UK Financial Partnership. It is an absolute honor to have you with us, sir.
So, sir, we are very glad to have you. And
thank you, dear.
From all the conversation which we had right now, I know it will be a great and interesting session. So, starting off, you started your career in auditing with Big Five. And what was the specific spark that made you do the pivot in your journey from being an auditor to an asset manager?
In my view, any profession that you choose always works in a very beautiful way. Auditing is a great profession. I have very high regard for that. I'm a CA first by background. Like you said, I was, after qualifying as a chartered accountant, I was working in the audit field. Structurally, how I would like to think about choosing your career path, and which I'm sure all of you also who are listening to this will find it useful probably, is that we should try and form a view maybe 10 to 15 years in future. Okay. So let's say today you are a young professional sitting in your first year or second year of your MBA college, and if you think what is looking good today or in the next 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, it's good, it's useful and very nice. But it is more important to try and form an opinion about the world 10 years later, and then try to picture yourself in that world. So if you feel that sitting today in 2026, if my view of the world in 2036 or let's say 2040, because that's when you would be in a leadership position or running a company, and if you feel in that world, let's say as an auditor, if you are doing very well, I was picturing myself, okay, if I work very well for next 12 to 15 years, maybe I will be head of this particular vertical or CEO of this particular auditing firm or company or managing partner or whatever the right word. And then you try to decide whether you would like to be in that role or not. Now, it's very difficult to make that decision or choice. 10 years future, who knows what the world will be like. But still, if you are able to make a small informed judgmental decision, that could go right, that could go wrong. So while I was thinking that way, I felt that maybe that is a role which I might not like doing. It would be a great profession 10 years in future, but maybe not suitable for my daily routine work. And hence I chose to pivot away from that career. And around that time, asset management had recently opened up for the private sector in India. So I thought that maybe in the 10-15 years in future, it will grow very fast. So it would be good to grow with a growing industry segment. And hence I chose to move into asset management and pivot away from auditing field. So reason to share this, Samep, is that when any of you who are currently thinking of your career decision, if you are able to identify or spot such industries or segments of the market which you feel are nascent right now, but could be having a very good potential growth in future. Maybe, I'm just saying, might not be comfortable for everybody or might not be a good idea for everybody, but it could be one way to think of that, okay, if you align your career with something which is possibly going to grow very fast, then you can get a good sort of, how should I say, tailwind and get a good growth,
So I understood from this that you have a very long-term vision about anything. So talking about that, what was the secret of like 20 years in DSP? And was it just the culture or challenge or the mix of both?
See, when you're working in any organization, it has to be a combination of many things. One very important thing is the way in which you take your work.
Hmm.
Now, Samit, today you are here. Maybe there is some other lecture also going on. Maybe you had some other class also to attend or something to enhance your
Skills.
CGPA score, for example. But you, in addition, chose to be doing this so-called like a corporate connect club and like do something extra. So it depends on how much connect you feel or how much passion with whatever work you are doing. So let's say when you are doing a job and if you feel connected to that job and you feel passionate about that platform for which you are working, then everything else falls in place. The responsibilities, the recognition, the monetary compensation, everything falls in place, you know. So in today's time, where very often the decision-making factor, many of you are already in placements or you have already got placed, many of you have already possibly worked for a couple of years before you are currently in your MBA program. So very often the decision is ESOPs. The decision is, what is my financial ownership in this venture? Which is good, nothing wrong with that. But if you are able to determine some kind of a emotional ownership as well, along with the financial ownership, which is important, if you are able to connect with that and become an emotional owner of that company or that business which you are working with, then that hits a jackpot. Okay, then you will feel aligned with that, because the monetary aspect of that growth, suppose you joined from campus some XYZ company, maybe there you are earning 100 rupees. After 2 years, somebody offers you something, okay, now I'm going to give you 20% more. So, okay, now you're getting 120. At some point, everybody understands economics, even if you're from marketing side, right? Anybody from marketing team over here? Oh wow, good mix, right? But still, basic of economics, right? Diminishing marginal utility होता है ना. आज अपन चाय पी के आ रहे हैं सब लोग 4:30 बजे तो, बराबर? Everybody, chai, coffee or whatever you want. Now if Sameep will say, अरे everybody welcome, I am giving you one more cup of tea. तो अरे thank you यार Sameep भाई, पहली बार तुमने चाय पिलाई, thank you, मैं पीता हूँ. Sorry dear. While the event is getting over, now Vanchika madam said, everybody has come for our session, I am giving one more cup of tea. You will say diminishing marginal utility, madam nahi chahiye abhi. If there's something stronger now, okay, I'll think about it. It's 6:30, but not tea, right? Like that, that 20%, 30% is having a diminishing marginal utility. But if you have an emotional ownership to that platform or to that company you're working with, then the 20, 25 also, even if it becomes 35, it's not going to make a difference. You are going to work with that passion. So for me, when I got associated with DSP, of course the name was different. It was called DSP Merrill Lynch Fund Managers at that time, then became DSP BlackRock. Now it is DSP Asset Managers or DSP Mutual Fund. So our total assets under management or the AUM that we manage was around 1,000 crores in that time. And today we are working with a business plan of how to make our PAT, means our net profit, 1,000 crores. You know. So if you are working with that kind of an emotional ownership, then the number of years or, oh, last year I got only 2% increment and somebody in the industry got 10% increment, it's okay. Over the average, it will work out the same. You know? So that's how I found it comfortable to be in one particular group or one particular organization for a long period, little bit over 20 years. And fortunately, during that period, I got to switch between 4 distinct roles, basically. You know, so the reason to share this also is that sometimes, if you are in a company and you are given an opportunity to do something different, be open to it sometimes. You know, I joined in some very different department. I landed up today in a very different role, which I am doing. So I'm very open even today to my boss that if tomorrow you say, listen very carefully, and it's very openly I tell my boss also, tomorrow if somebody says, Anil, for 1 week, my receptionist is on holiday, but I want you to do that role, I will do it. I will not shy away from that. Because if that person, that boss or super boss is asking me to do that role, means there must be some rationale. Some very important clients are going to come in this next 1 whole week and they can't be met with an empty desk. But if somebody informed investment thinking person is sitting on the desk while they come and they are waiting for 2 minutes also, that engagement will be very powerful. So you sit here for 1 week, I will do it. I will not shy away from that.
Got it.
So something like that. Like for example, today this event was there. This Hiya madam who was coordinating. She said, sir, when you come, you call me, I'll come down. मैंने जरूरत नहीं है मैडम, मैं ऊपर आ जाऊंगा. वो बोले नहीं, that is our, how should I say, important aspect. So she took that, something like that. So
Mm.
don't, if you don't shy away from doing whatever it is needed, then it
Mm.
will be a good experience, learning, as well as contributing to that platform with which you are connected, not just financially, but as an emotional owner of that.
Got it. So I guess that was a quite positive approach. Like for the new young professionals, they should have this approach in their long-term vision. So let's move forward with
Sure.
that question only. That
Yes.
what would be your advice for the young professionals who are getting into finance field
Mhm.
for like fund administration and front-end investment roles? What would be your advice to them?
So like I said, all roles are very interesting. I joined fund administration role, and it's very engaging, very interesting. We were doing very cool stuff. Back in the day, this was during 2003, वगैरह, when in India, quite nascent products, I mean, those products were quite new. We were investing into asset-backed securities, ABS, MBS, securitized debts. So marketing guys will say, Anil, kya bole, samajh mein nahi aaya, but the finance people will relate to it, right? You have got strips of cash flows coming in, and you have to value them. So you have to use a zero coupon curve and try to come up with a sort of arbitrage-free valuation. So something like that, very interesting stuff in Indian capital markets were evolving. So we were in the thick of things, working with how to value those securities, how they will be purchased, etc., etc. So it was good fun. Front office roles also is very good fun. It has a very different context. So I feel that when you are making your choice, don't get carried away with the label of other people. Very often people say, हाँ सर मुझे फ्रंट ऑफिस में ही ज्वाइन करना है, मुझे बैक ऑफिस नहीं काम करना है. मतलब क्यों नहीं? बैक ऑफिस मतलब नाम ही ऐसा ना, बैक ऑफिस ऐसा करके ना, तो नाम चेंज कर देंगे अपन, कुछ और बना देंगे. डोंट कॉल इट समथिंग, कॉल इट व्हाटएवर, बिकॉज द वर्क दैट सम ऑफ दोज colleagues in my team also do is cutting edge and is very high in analytics. A lot of those things I also can't do it today, basically. For example, I'm just saying. So the point is that the number of roles and the kind of enriched work is going to be spread across everything, whether you are in a front office or a middle office or a back office or you are in marketing. Like a lot of our industry, like in asset management, in money management, now there is no sales function which is like doing sales. आप समझ रहे हो? It's like not okay, I'm going door to door and selling this mug of water or tea or whatever, right? You're not selling an investment product. You become an investment salesperson.
Yeah.
So my sales professionals, my sales colleagues, they are up the curve in terms of being aware of the drivers of risk and return today, of being aware of what asset class is doing well and why, and hence based on that and the client's requirement, they are able to position right products. Whether it is whichever function, it's up to us how much depth we can create in that and enrich that role and try to maximize our learning from that.
So I understood one thing, that when you talked about sales, so sales is something like people are running from sales, like we don't want to do sales. But sales is also some department which can be looked in a different perspective.
100%,
Yeah.
absolutely right. And like I said, that एक बहुत फेमस मूवी था, हिंदी मूवी, बहुत पुराना, मे भी शायद बॉर्न नहीं हो रहेगा, बट इट वाज वेरी कॉमन एंड आई यूज दैट एग्जांपल. सो मे बी यू गाइस इवन माइट नॉट. तो एक वो, आई फॉरगॉट द नेम ऑफ दैट मूवी, वो मिस चमको करके एक कोई लेडी, उसका नाम था, देन शी इज सेलिंग डिटर्जेंट पाउडर्स. तो शी हैज टू गो डोर टू डोर एंड सेल दैट. शी हैज टू रिंग द बेल एंड से कि ये डिटर्जेंट पाउडर खरीद लो. Right? But today sales is not like that. Obviously, I mean, you don't go to office ringing the bell, say, buy my investment product, basically. But it's about being able to put into context what's happening in the markets today. Based on that, this is the view because of which maybe you should consider buying this particular investment solution or this particular product. And in some way, I mean, on the lighter side, regardless of whatever job we are doing or whatever role we are in, you have to be a good salesperson.
100%.
Okay, so I'll be very honest. Like today, for me to come here also, this apna your corporate connect team, and they had to sell your platform and your thing to me, right? कि यार अनिल भाई आप आइए ना बॉस. मतलब मैं क्यों आऊँ? अरे because हम पवे में बहुत fancy location में है. आप जाओगे तो यहाँ पे एक coffee shop भी मिलेगी. And by the way, we have got 1800, which is a very diverse batch size. You'll enjoy engaging with the young professionals, something like that. I don't know what I'm just. And so, for example, even if I look at my role today, I'm named manager for a wide range of funds, across equity, fixed income, and commodities. So one would think, okay, I must be just sitting at my desk and looking at my 5 Bloomberg screens and doing some analytics and going home. But a large component or proportion of my time goes also in sales, right? Because I have to sell my
product,
idea or my concept, or why this makes sense today. And hence, because of that, I have this range of products. So which product currently should be in focus? So everybody has to align with that thinking that you have to be a good salesperson to be good at anything else that you are doing.
Got it. So
never run. In short, what you are saying, sometimes people run away. कि नहीं मुझे sales role नहीं करना है. I sincerely urge you to rethink that. Basically, think differently.
Got it. So as we have an audience of MBA students right now,
right?
So in your, like, you have seen the past time also. So at that point of time, MBA was enough for a person to start their career. But what is your perspective? Like, is MBA enough right now? Being a CFA yourself, what do you feel from a recruiter's point of view? What should be their takeaway? Is MBA actually enough?
Well, I mean, most certainly it's a very powerful learning, and if you're doing from a very large reputed college like yours, definitely it will be very useful and would be good to get you started into a very good corporate role or anything of your choice. At some point of time, depending on then which field you choose, like maybe you said you are from finance side, Madam Mother is from marketing side, somebody is there from marketing side, operations side. Then at that point of time, you can choose to add on some relevant professional qualification at that time, which will help you propel your career further. So it's not that, okay, just after I finish this one thing, I'm out of my IBS and that's all. That's not how it will work today. But, and since you asked and took example about the CFA program, so suppose if you are in the world of finance and you want to enhance your learning with a good combination of some professional work experience, then maybe yes, CFA is a good program. If within that you have selected to be part of, let's say for example, hypothetically risk management, then maybe okay, you focus and do FRM. Or if you are working in a large setup which has got a lot of alternative investments, then maybe you can do CAIA, which is focused on chartered alternative investments. So I feel that not anything about any particular one program or any college, but yes, your MBA program will be a good base. And on top of that, depending on the area you choose, you can keep adding on something
to your skills and
further, which would be professional qualifications which help you to propel your learning further,
Okay. So, like, talking about your CFA examination, you have cleared all the levels while you were like working full time.
Yes.
How did you make that work-study balance? Like, we talk about work-life balance a lot.
Right.
Like, let's talk about work-study balance a little.
See, I think there is no concept called work and study, but I feel that it's about a learning and learning. There is some learning you get while working. There is some learning you get while reading. So if you are able to work with both of these as a combination, then it's a very powerful win-win formula, So if somebody is thinking that, oh, I have got to study for my CFA examination and I'm not going to start working, I'll take 6 months off. That's the worst thing to do, in my opinion. Sorry, with all due respect to whoever is doing anything. So I always say that if you think of the CFA program as an examination, then you have half the battle lost. Or likewise, any other professional curriculum, because examination is long behind us. You guys are today also in a very professional qualification world, basically, right? Examination was in school. मैं 4th स्टैंडर्ड में थी, फिर मैं पास होएगी तो मैं 5th में जाऊंगी, देन मैं अभी 10th खत्म करूंगा, मैं तो भी अच्छे कॉलेज में जाना है मुझे, उसके बाद मुझे IBS में एडमिशन के लिए ये एक स्कोर लाना है, बस वो आने के बाद खत्म, then it is no examination, right? If it was only examination, then you would not be doing this today. You would be just sitting and learning some book and going to the exam to get a score. So we are in a different world. We have to, like how we are thinking of a career pivot, we have to do a personal pivot. We have to pivot away from being a student, from being examination focused, to learning and professional qualifications, So I feel it's a combination of learning and learning. You learn a lot in terms of what you work, You learn a lot in terms of what you read. So for me, what worked well, I was at DSP only when I was pursuing my CFA program. So, and in a very busy day job, like you leave home very early in the morning. Sometimes you are coming home at like 10 in the night, then having a dinner, and then what you will study. So I gave up the idea, okay, boss, I don't want to study when I come home from office. So I said, okay, Monday to Friday, 24/7, I will focus only on my day job because that is also giving me a lot of learning. I'll keep absorbing it. I will be a sponge in my workplace, absorb whatever is coming across my way. And then on Saturday, Sunday, I will just do my reading and learning from the reading. So Saturday also, wake up in the morning, like you would go to your college or like you would go to your office or your workplace, leave from your home, go away, go to your college library or go to some, many of you will transition away from your college library and सिक्योरिटी गार्ड बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट है, आने नहीं देंगे, मेरे को भी शायद रोका था उन्होंने, तो आपको भी शायद 3 साल बाद 4 साल बाद नहीं, अरे कहाँ जा रहे हो मैडम, यस सर, तो join some other library which is outside of the purview of the college, but keep that as a standard thing that okay, then on weekend, Saturday and Sunday, do that. So that combination of the reading and that learning in day job practical aspect, I feel is very powerful basically.
Thank you so much for giving this insight that it is not just examination.
Exactly.
It should be your approach to learn new things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we'll go deep into the ETF side. You have seen the rise of ETF like firsthand. So it is not at all a passive thing right now. It is a new investment thing for Indian investors. What is your approach on this?
See, ETFs are not very new, but yes, the awareness is increasing manifold now. So today, as we think about ETFs, in terms of Indian market, it is approximately 16 to 17% of the total size of mutual fund industry. In the US, it has now crossed more than 50%. So in the US mutual fund industry, passive funds means ETFs and index funds are more than the active funds. So it is about 53-54% thereabouts means of the total size. So I feel that in India, we are yet catching up, we are yet increasing the awareness. Structurally, I feel that the drivers of ETF becoming popular in the US were very different. There have been some small tax benefits. In India, we have a different driver. In India, one of the main driver would be the ease of understanding and simplicity. So if we just do a quick show of hands over here, how many of us sitting here, 20 to 30 people, had worked before or are working or have some small stream of income coming, and who want to invest their own money and make some money out of your money, right? Very few, okay. Well, but maybe in next couple of months or maybe a year for some of the people, young friends who are in year 1, you will be starting to earn and getting your salary. Then you would want to park that money somewhere and invest, right? Now, for the friends who are not in the finance field but who are in marketing side or operation side or HR side, आप बोलेंगे ना, अरे यार इस सब में मेरे को ज़्यादा कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है. So at that point of time, to get you started with your first check coming and where will you invest? If somebody comes to you and says, okay, come and invest in this simple, easy to understand, low cost index fund. You don't, for example, follow finance, but you are in marketing, but you are broadly aware of what's happening in the economy. And you say, okay, when I read the newspaper broad, I just read, okay, last 1 year, broad industry or broad market of India like Nifty 50 or BSE Sensex, let's say give 10% return. And I'll say, okay, your portfolio has given you 9.75 or 10.25 return. Are you comfortable? Yes, okay. So very easy to get you onboarded. And then we start the discussion on something else. Okay, what else is going on in your life and what about your new job and whatever basically, right? So that ease and simplicity is something which will be the main driver. If at that time I talk about some very fancy stuff that, I was actively managing your portfolio and I had taken overweight position in auto and pharma thinking that after the GST changes, these two sectors will do good, but they have not done well actually, and hence your portfolio is down 2%, whereas broader market is up 10%. But don't worry, after next year, 1 or 2 years, I am expecting it to turn around. So वो shut off हो जाएगा, tension है, ये क्या हो रहा है, मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. So to avoid that kind of a thing, I feel this simplicity, ease of understanding, transparency, these are going to be the main drivers of ETFs and index funds in India. And there is a huge scope for penetration yet, So not even in smaller towns or cities. Just think of, in this room, there are only 3-4 people who are investing today. So for all the others to get onboarded, there is so much scope. It will take time, but there is so much scope with simple, easy to start products. So we always say, like, and we had a very large brand campaign for investor awareness, that till you find the best fund, start with index funds, basically. So I think that is going to be the driver in India to
Start with safe.
start with a easy, safe, transparent, you know.
Got
That's
it.
how it will grow, I feel.
Got it. So has the role of AI and data analytics changed the way of investors, like their perspective from like past 20 years ago and right now? Has AI changed and data analytics changed something?
Oh, most certainly, AI has changed things dramatically. And I would say not just AI, which you can feel of in a very different way, that maybe it's some bubble which is getting created very recently. But in general, technology-driven aspects. Today, technology is everywhere in anything. So if somebody comes and asks me that, sir, what do you think about technology? So I'll say, okay, boys, what about technology? In everything we are, today
exactly.
you are watching this, some of us are watching it live, but many of you are watching this as a recorded session offline, but with the use of technology.
Yeah.
So I think technology has changed our lives significantly 20 years back, what it was and what we are today. And in terms of money management or analytics, it's still going to change drastically. So today, just think about it, that since we are discussing about auto as an example, just imagine that, okay, there is a research company or a brokerage company who's researching auto companies, and there are a couple of analysts tracking that sector. And let's say you and me, we are two auto analysts, and so we have to do a field visit. Maybe we'll take 3 days away from the Mumbai office. We'll go to, let's say, one large auto plant, hypothetically in Delhi NCR ke aage. So we'll go one day, meet the management, and do the meeting. The next day we'll take a round in the vicinity, go to the auto ancillaries. Then one day we'll just stand outside the possibly factory and just count the number of trucks which are moving to corroborate the understanding. Okay, in that one day, let's say 25 trucks moved out, and in one truck there are 4 vehicles. So in one day, 100 cars are getting produced. For example, I'm saying. Now just imagine, another few years later, will that be needed? Very, very, very less chance.
Very less.
Because each part will probably have some geotagging or something which will digitally sitting over here, give us a large volume of data. So we will need to be good at managing that data, at working on those data sets. Like, Microsoft Excel will be important, but maybe many other tools will emerge. Maybe we all need to learn coding, which will be able to work with such data sets,
Good.
So all non-marketing people, or non-finance people, you will be thinking, sir, हमको तो coding में कोई interest नहीं है. But हम vibe coding सीख लेंगे. We will not learn the syntax, but we will learn to do a vibe coding. Everybody understands what is vibe coding? Just type something and that agent will give you some input. But other than that, working with large data sets as a financial analyst, you will need coding at some point of time. So all the finance people, I request you, I urge you, please do take time for that. Many of you might be learning already or knowing. Anybody knows any other coding language for financial data and all?
Okay, nice.
What do you use, madam? What R or Python? आप क्या use? Python use करते हैं. Some people might be using R. R is more a scientist kind of thinking. Python is more a financial. For stats we use R. Correct, right? तो भी मैडम कैसा है ना कि let's say what I mentioned in the beginning, we have to try and think that 10 years later how the world will be, and how we will be positioned in that world. So today what we are all aware about is R and Python broadly. And with the fast changes, like what you're saying, how life will change basically. Right? Maybe in 2035 or 2040, when you all will be in senior leadership position driving the world of finance or economics, maybe R will be obsolete और Python बोले अरे Python तो सोचेगा अरे कहाँ है Python भाई, लोग डर जाएंगे क्या बोल रहे हो आप, मतलब like when I was a young professional, there were 2 languages, 3 languages. So like many large banks, many large asset managers, like the company which I was referring to earlier, they are using now Julia to program their tools and their interface for fund managers instead of Python, for example, because they feel it is much more easier and faster, and I don't know, whatever. I mean, I'm not a tech background person, so I also have to yet learn Julia. But I'm just saying as an example. So that's how we need to think. That 20 years later or 10 years later, world will change even more fast. So when I started like a young analyst, like or professional like you, I used to feel very proud. Boss, in Excel, I have a very good grip. I can write VBA codes.
Okay.
Now today that is
basic,
almost worthless. अब बोले सर क्या VBA? वो मैडम मैं तो vibe coding करती हूँ. VBA का क्या करूँगी मैं? But in that 20 years, and hence now sitting today, when you guys are in that 20 years in future, if suppose you have learned something like maybe something more fancy like a Julia or something like that, then it will be more powerful. I mean, so that's how I think this is shaping, and it will change the way in which today you and I think about a large number of things. Basically, it's not that AI will, like, it's a very cliche dialogue, so you must have read about it and heard it, but it's not that like AI is going to take away our jobs immediately. Maybe in future it will, but at this point of time, definitely it's something that if you know AI, you will be able to get better jobs in other way around.
Yeah. So I heard it over somewhere that AI is just collecting our data. Like,
correct.
Some companies are also providing free AI subscriptions. It is just to collect our data.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I feel that AI is also learning right now. As 100%. We are learning, AI is also learning, and
you're right.
Human intelligence can always take over in this stage.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
So talking about one thing, that you have won 40 under 40 award in 2018. So apart from finance, what was the soft skill that helped you? Like, what was some other skills, soft skills that changed your life to win this or to reach over this position?
No. So it's not like it's winning. It's not like some, I mean, it's industry recognition. Very good. But okay, we'll rephrase the question. That what are soft skills important in professional career? Nothing to do with winning something or ऐसा कुछ. Okay. So see, in my view, our professional career is like a very important and a very fine balance. So I always say that our profession is like riding a bicycle. You have to keep pedaling or you will fall down, right? Bicycle समझते हैं ना, मतलब आप जब तक pedal मार रहे हो तब तक ही आप चलोगे. That often I have said it in context of learning. You need to keep constantly learning and enhancing your knowledge. But it is also in the context of soft skills and hard skills, like how you have to balance a bicycle with the two handles. Likewise, hard skills and soft skills go hand in hand. You could be the best star fund manager or best star sales professional or the best star professor teaching the young professionals. But if you don't have good soft skills, then your bicycle is bound to fall, not go longer and it will fall down. Correct. So I feel that to enhance your soft skills, to enhance your how should I say, connectivity with the world at large, you need to be very conscious of that first. Very often what happens that in the quest for excellence or whatever you are doing, or in the quest for learning, or in the quest for moving ahead in the corporate race or in the business, whatever you are doing, many of you will be doing business as an entrepreneur, many of you will be working in a corporate entity. So sometimes in that quest for growth or excellence, you might, like while cycling also, while you are pedaling, sometimes little bit more pressure on one hand and then the other, you try to balance it out. You have to keep constantly balancing that, because I feel that at some point of time, this aspect of soft skills will be very, very critical. And in certain roles or in certain jobs, it's more important than hard skills also.
Yeah.
If you're running a company, if you are, and you have a large number of people who are in your team, if you can't communicate well with them and you can't motivate them to work for you or work for the company's goals or growth, then you will most certainly fail. You could be the best at what you do, but you need to evolve that. So what worked for me, for example, over these years, is that maybe it's a soft skill or maybe it's just an inherent way of working, is that you should always try to think from other person's side, whichever part of the ecosystem she or he belongs to, basically. So what I mean by that is that, let's say you start your day, you leave from your home. Okay, you will be first greeted by your liftman or your niche watchman, right? So how you start your day is most important. अगर आपका नेचर लगा रहे वॉचमैन के साथ क्या मेरे को करना है, you don't even look and you just walk through, so you also say हाँ भाई गया है कोई, मुझे क्या करना है. Versus if you start your day with हाँ भाई thank you boss, तूने मेरे लिए दरवाजा खोल के दे दिया, exchange just a smile, and then you step into your office and then you start engaging with your team or your workplace, or you're going to meet some client, and at that point of time, if you're in a position to connect with that person, that is something which is going to help you. 100%. Second thing which works always very nicely, and which I think we were chatting just before we were walking into this room, that how you mentioned you have a habit to look up about the person or that company whom
Yeah.
you're going to meet in advance. That's very important, friends. So just recently I was interviewing some candidate, and I mean, I don't want to, of course, take name or anything at all, but just example I'm giving. Matlab, she didn't know anything about me, for example, which is okay. I have nothing like that. And we were just generally, I mean, chatting briefly. Then I said, okay, what are you doing? And so she said, okay, you know, I'm a CFA charter holder and I do this as part of my job and all that. I said, very good. So then I said, and she said, recently I finished my CFA. And then little bit out of the way, I said, so what to ask in formal interview? She had already finished one round with my team with whom day to day she was going to work. So I just asked, अच्छा last recently तुमने पास किया तो एक कोई चीज के बारे में हमने बात की level 3 के some curriculum में से. Oh, sir, you are also CFA charter holder. So I said, yes, madam, I am. So then when did you? I mean, so now I said, now I don't want to answer you questions about what I did or whatever. So instead of that, if suppose she would have taken a little bit initiative to learn a little bit about the people whom you're going to meet and about the company, and it helps to connect better. So for example, like I'll just give a small thing from my side. When your team reached out to come, you know, or to your campus, I was broadly aware I've done some engagements with your campus before, but still I did a quick back check with my HR. Do you go for placements over here? They said, yes, sir. And recently a small batch of your students were in my office for some interviews for some roles. And little bit I checked one or two people who are alumni from your college and who are working in my office. Basically, nobody in my direct team currently is from your alumni, but some other teams. So when I came, I felt a little bit slight 1% more empowered when I walked in. And when I was talking to somebody, I said, this so and so from your college is in my office. Acha, sir, good.
Yeah, we know.
That helps to bring better
to break the ice,
connect and break the ice. So like that, I feel that if you're able to do some of these small things and make them as your routine habit, then it will help a lot in terms of your combination of hard skills and soft skills. अदरवाइज सॉफ्ट स्किल्स का डेफिनेशन आप पढ़ लोगे, आपके चैट जीपीटी में या परप्लेक्सिटी जो भी में यूज करते हो, तो आपको बहुत सारा कुछ दे देंगे, वो आप पढ़ लीजिए, उसके बारे में समझ लीजिए. अभी वो उसमें तो मैं क्या ही वैल्यू ऐड करूँ, मतलब. बट दिस इज जस्ट प्रैक्टिकल small aspects of that which I am just sharing, which I have found useful in the past. Basically,
it was a great insight, sir. So talking about one more thing, like you are associated with the DSP Mutual Funds from past like more than 20 years, and nowadays it has been a thing that switching in 2-3 years to like take a growth and moving forward in your life, to take a growth in your life. But you have been associated with only one company from past 23 years or more than that. So what was the one thing that made you do this? And what is the thing? Is switching a right thing or not? And like, please guide us through that.
So I think very often it's a very important trade-off between whether you should switch jobs or stay on for a long time. So maybe like you are referring to my current role, where I've been there for about 23 years at a group level. Before that, I was with a company, ILNFS Mutual Fund. It doesn't exist anymore. I was there for hardly 6 months. So sometimes it happens that way, that you need to change if something you feel is not working. So I didn't change because something was not working, but I changed because something very large was being shown that way, or somebody very large was reaching out to me that, oh, why didn't you join my company? So it was like, I found it very
exciting.
Somebody like such a senior person is calling me and saying, come and join my company. So I could not refuse, and because thinking that, okay, she or he is able to take a judgment that you'll do better if you come here, so you respect that judgment and you join, basically. But other than that, I feel that sometimes, instead of making small moves in a very fast or in a very short duration, being in a company for a little bit longer, sometimes, again, it's very subjective, but it can help in a better compounding of learning, compounding of your growth. It's like investing. Sometimes if you just buy something, sell off, and then buy something else, you could do well, no doubt. But sometimes if you are compounding for a long period, you get a better returns.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're in the same company for a little longer, you build your brand equity, you build your awareness, you've done something good for somebody who is not in your team also, then maybe that person has some requirement, she or he will reach out to you, come and work for me, for example, I'm just saying. So that's what worked well for me. So even within my these 23 years, I got an opportunity to change 4 small distinct roles and move along and ensure I could contribute in some or the other meaningful way, So yeah, it's a difficult choice or difficult question that should we switch jobs fast or should we stick on for a long time? Yes, most certainly, if something is not working or if something is being offered which is a very larger role or a very different role. But yeah, one thing I'm very clear, or I would like to advise everybody, that if you are going to be in the same or similar role just for the sake of 10, 15, 20% of a monetary hike, please be cautious before you change. Because maybe if you remain in the same organization, little bit longer term, that compounding will anyways even out and average out everything, basically, So rather than making that choice, you could consider to be in a organization for a longer time. That's how I would think of it,
So I took 2 points from this question. That
Yes.
one was compounding is not just a part of investment; it
Yes.
is also a part of our life.
Correct.
And one is that you should always step out of your comfort zone. It can be in either ways.
Correct.
Like
Yes.
if you are not
Yes.
comfortable in any organization, you should talk about it rather than switching directly.
Yes.
I took this 2 point as my takeaway.
I think that's a perfect thing. Yes, dear. Yeah.
So, sir, we talked about your journey, everything. We have a small segment. It is we call it as investment jury. So they will be the part of jury.
Okay.
And I'll ask one scenario,
ठीक है.
and I'll give them 2 options. So they will raise hands. Both the options are right, but it is just a part of their perspective.
Okay.
So then we'll ask you, like, what do you feel is the right thing to do as their purpose? Okay.
ठीक.
So the first one is the FOMO trap. A new thematic index fund is launched, focusing on a high growth sector like space tech. It is trending everywhere on social media, and retail investors are focusing on it. As a passive specialist, what would you do? Add it to your core portfolio to capture early alpha, stick to a broad Nifty 500 index fund, and ignore the noise. So we'll ask the audience first, what would they do? So the people who will add to their core portfolio can raise hand. Can we have someone? Okay.
पहले उनको समझा कि नहीं, पहले आप क्या पूछ रहे हैं? मैं भी समझ नहीं आया कि what do you have to do basically.
Okay, so a new fund has been launched. I'll simplify it. A new fund has been launched, and it is focusing on high growth or space tech. Okay, so what would you do? You will add that fund to your core portfolio, or you will stick to Nifty 500 as your normal investments. So the people who will add it to your core portfolio can raise hands. Okay, and the people who will stick to Nifty 500 can raise hands now. Okay, so what would you do now?
See, I think if you are looking at a core portfolio, then maybe some kind of these thematics might not be a good idea to add unless you are adding it with a specific view and then able to switch out after some time. So as young investors, if you are holding it for a long period of time, then maybe a broad Nifty 50 or Nifty 500, as you gave example, can be a core allocation, and this can be a satellite allocation.
Okay.
I mean, satellite not in the form of space tech, but satellite is a core and satellite. So I feel that it would be more prudent that let core be boring aspect. अपन रोज खाना खाने जाते हैं तो भी हाँ बेसिक एक रोटी सब्जी दाल चावल तो चाहिए ही मुझे.
बराबर.
That should be your core. That don't touch it, so you don't waste time. You need to spend time. In more better things in your job or in thinking that how in that space tech I should be a part of it or whatever. Not in terms of chasing a few 5-10 companies because somebody on social media is talking about it. So core, let it be boring. Satellite allocation for short-term view, from tactical view. By all means, buy it, sell it off quickly when you want. That is how I would see it.
Got. So we have scenario 2 also.
Okay.
It is ethics versus exit. It is a question to the jury. So you are a junior analyst. You discover a minor reporting discrepancy in a fund performance that make it look slightly better than it is. your immediate manager says it is too small to matter, don't report it. Got it? Everyone understood? Okay, so the first thing that you could do is follow your manager's advice and maintain the hierarchy decisions. And second thing you could do is escalate it immediately so that no further hiccups or something wrong is done. So what would you do? The people who will like go with the manager saying can raise hand. Okay, and the people who will escalate the thing. Okay, we have a lot for escalating it.
So I think it's a very classic, you know, how should I say, dilemmas we face on a day-to-day basis. But it's very subjective at some point of time. Like you mentioned that if genuinely like that error is very small and it won't impact anything, then yeah, don't do anything. For example, okay.
Got it.
But based on your judgment, if you feel no, it is something which can be more larger issue or which can harm our reputation, then yeah, most certainly, even if your immediate reporting boss or your super boss is also not agreeing to that, you should definitely escalate. And there would be different ways and means to escalate. By escalate, I don't mean you go and post about it in social media and let the world at large know, but be prudent in terms of how you escalate and what you do. But like I said, in general, as a core principle of ethics, don't take a very how should I say, subordinate approach. Boss ने बोल दिया तो right ही होगा, ऐसा नहीं. You do your homework. So some of the hands which rose that yes, if boss is saying, I appreciate that point also. It could well be that boss, she or he has seen this kind of situation, and if it's within certain threshold, then okay, don't worry. You know, there are certain thresholds which are identified. That okay, suppose for example, like I think the example you said that the fund NAV is slightly lower or higher basically. So what will it happen? So sometimes these are not BAU, but they are seen in the past, and then there are bands prescribed that okay, if the let's say gap is within 25 basis point plus or minus, for I just example, you know, then okay, it's within acceptable band. If it's within 25 to 35 range, then it is something which we should internally escalate, and then if there is a loss to the investor, we need to pay it. If it's above 50 basis point, then it's a very big escalation, and you report it in the newspaper also and into the regulator also and all. So as long as, if suppose you are following in that order, and that is a stated and acceptable policy, and that seems right to you also, then yeah, definitely follow your manager. But yeah, if you at any point of time feel this is seeming something out of it, then all the others who raise their hands, that is the perfect approach. You know, if something wrong is going on, and even if your manager says nahi aap isko report mat kariye, by all means you should escalate and do it.
So it was a great piece of advice because all the people who are sitting over here will start their careers now.
Yes, absolutely.
And they will be the young professionals in the market.
Yes. So no, and that is important whether you are in finance or marketing or whichever area. Sometimes, you know, it can very fast escalate in terms of finance because even one small number going here or there, but it could be very relevant even in case of marketing basically. You know, suppose you are discussing and talking about some brand campaign and you feel no, this is something very wrong and it is unethical, for example, or this brand campaign will do more harm to the people. I don't know, I'm just giving an example. Then yeah, by all means, raise your hand or raise your voice and don't do it.
Got it. So thank you so much, sir, for this insightful session. Like we all loved it, and I know that they are taking a lot from here. We had a great session.
Likewise.
And thank you so much for.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Can you have a huge hand?
Thank you.